So another bathroom to do. This one has quite a few features in it. It's going to have a lot of different elements as far as tile size and layout. So I'm going to start with this one by installing the pre-slope. The first thing you need to do in a shower like this is actually, because we have a three-piece drain here and we're going to have a vinyl liner, a pearl oil liner, we need to install the pre-slope. I'm not going to give all the details of how to install the pre-slope here. I have actually several videos on my channel in the how-to section that describes how to install a pre-slope in detail, how the three-piece drain works, and a bunch of other stuff relating to tile. So if you want more details, please visit my channel and watch those videos. But anyway, just to start, I'll give some basics. The felt paper or tar paper or roofing paper that I'm installing here is to isolate the mud from the plywood, and then I'm going to put some wire lath on top of that, which I'm going to show you next. Once you have your felt paper down, then it's time to install some wire lath. And the reason for the lath is to reinforce and stabilize the mud, and so that's just installed on the floor over the felt paper and stapled down to the floor. And that's really all there is to it. There's really nothing else to it. Just cut it to size, cut the hole for the drain, and then install your wire lath and staple it down. Okay, so you want to have a slope about 1/4 inch per foot. This is 1.5 inches here. This is 1/2 inch, 3/4. The level's like that. And then when I raise that to level, I get about 1 inch under there. So it's about 2 feet, 1/4 inch per foot. That would be 1/2 inch, 3/4. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all the elements of installing this pre-slope, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. I've got, like I said, a bunch of other videos that show how to do this, so I'm not going to repeat it here. But basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a level perimeter at the height that will give me a slope of 1/4 inch per foot or more to the drain. And then I'm going to fill down with mud to the drain, and that's really all there is to it. And the top part of the pre-slope doesn't have to be perfect, because it's going to be covered by the pan liner, and then it's going to be covered by another layer of mud for the tile. So you just need to get a positive pitch to the drain, but you don't have to have a perfectly smooth mud job there, because it's all going to be covered anyway. I always try and get it as good as possible, but it doesn't have to be, because it's all going to be covered. that's it. The pre-slope, I installed the pan liner and the board, and then the shower mud floor on top of that. I don't show that here, but like I said earlier, I have a bunch of videos that do show how to do that, and if I would do that here, then this video would be 3 hours long, and I don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to waterproof this shower. All this around here, the curb, everything. I'm going to waterproof everything. Very important. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do the knee wall as well. But I'll cut some pieces to get them ready. Okay, so this one's going to go like this. And then this one's going to go like this. It's going to go like that. See that corner? So make that corner, first fold it in half. Fold it in half like that. Cut down there, and you can make that corner like that. So that's how I'm going to waterproof this bed sheet. And from there, I'm going to do these seams, this corner, the knee walls, and the floor. Okay, so this is what I'm using for waterproofing. Maypie Aqua Defense. Now this is dent shield on these walls, so I only have to do the corners and seams because there's a waterproofing membrane on the surface here. So I'm going to do the screw holes, all the corners and seams. If this was Durock, then I coat the whole surface. First I'm going to put a coat on here. So always two coats, so that's the first coat. And then do the back, and I'll do the front as well. that corner, and the seat's going to be done, and then I'll give it another coat when it dries. This is the deck mud, and this is the bottom of the seat here. Now I'm going to be coating the whole mud, but where the wall meets the mud, I'm going to put this in the corners. I'm going to put an inside corner. And this is how you make an inside corner. Fold it in half. Fold it in half again. And that's going to go in that corner, another one in this corner here. Make sure you soak the fabric real good. I'm going to do the rest of the shower. Same for all the corners. Over here, seams, everywhere. Everyone makes mistakes. And there's going to be a piece that goes all the way up here. Everything gets 2 coats, so that when that dries it gets another coat. And I'm going to do the top here. So everything's got 1 coat. I'm going to still do the floor, but I need to step on that, so I can't do that right now. And I'm going to do the top here and here. So everything's waterproofed. I just need to give everything a 2nd coat and do the floor. Yeah, I let that dry because I can't reach from over here, and it's going to dry pretty quick because it's on the deck mud. And then I'm going to give it another coat and then give this over here as well a couple of coats. Okay, so that's pretty much dry. So I'm going to give it the 2nd coat over here. Okay, wait for this half to dry over here, and I'll give that a 2nd coat. Okay, that's it. 2 coats and everything. Now, like I said, this is dense shield, so you don't have to do the surface. It's already got a waterproof membrane on it. If it was Durock, then you would do the whole surface. But that's it. The whole thing is waterproofed. 2 coats and everything. Okay, so I got this ledger board up here, all the way across, and up here we're gonna have 6-inch tile on diagonal, going all the way from there to there. Then this is gonna be glass tile. And then 12-inch tiles, square down the bottom. So that's the plan. Okay, so I'm going to cut these in half like this here. So I can start on there, the bottom, and up that corner. Okay, so I cut these strips here, the exact thickness of the tile for that corner there, and you'll see why in a minute. When you're working with diagonals that meet in the corner, you want to make sure everything is perfectly square. In other words, the corner, the vertical corner has to be perfectly plumb, and the two ledger boards have to be perfectly level. In other words, everything has to be perpendicular. Otherwise, if the tile starts to run off, it's going to be very difficult to get it to line up again. I'm going to make sure that I'm working on both sides of this corner so that I can, if there are little adjustments that need to be made, I can make them. If you go all the way up one wall and then you go up all the way up the other wall, you know, you're not going to be able to make adjustments. So I find that, in my opinion, it's easier to work both sides of the wall and just, you know, build it a little bit at a time. So here I have that piece of tile that I cut to the exact thickness of the tile. So it's a piece of square tile, and I'm in the corner. And the reason I'm doing that is because you don't want, when you're doing a diagonal, you want the edges of the cuts to just meet each other at the corner. You don't want one tile overlapping the other, because if you have the tiles overlapping, what's going to happen is the grout lines are going to run off and they're not going to be even. So putting this piece of filler in the corner helps the tile stay where it's supposed to stay and keep the grout lines lined up. I find this works really well. Like I mentioned earlier, you want the corner to be perfectly clean. And I can't stress this enough, because if anything is running out, you will run into problems, and the alignment of the grout lines at the corner are not going to match. You know, little by little they're going to run off, and you will not be able to have them meet again. So this is one of those cases where you must make sure that you have perfectly plumb lines. Okay, so I need to cut this hole, and this is what I'm going to use to cut it, but first I have to mark it. So, yep, cut right there. So there's the hole I cut. Yeah, it's gonna fit just like that. From the right way. Now with these two on, and we're actually going to work on this here. Okay, so that's on there. Now I'm gonna go a couple more rows up here so I can come down this way. Yeah. I just want to say a couple words about thinset. Thinset, the one I'm using here is a polymer modified thinset, and it's actually Ultraflex 2 by Mapi, or Mappy, or however you want to say it. Do not buy the cheapest thinset you can get. A lot of people will find a $5, $6, $7 bag of thinset at one of those stores, and they'll buy it and they think that it's fine to set tile. It's not. You want to buy a mid-grade to a premium quality thinset. The thinset is what holds everything together and holds your tile on the wall. So if there's one thing you don't want to skimp on, it's the thinset. So please stay away from cheap, lower grade thinsets and buy a good quality thinset. Okay, so that wall's done, except for the boomholes over here. Corners don't match. Next is over here. I got those in. I got a line up there, and I'm going to put another line from this corner to that corner, and I'll put a ledger board up to keep me straight. So I'm going to put the ledger board up now, and I'm going to tile seal it. Okay, so I got my ledger boards up as guides.
It's going to really help trying to keep the tile straight, especially when you work it upside down. So now I'm going to start with the ceiling tile.
When you're installing tile on the ceiling, a lot of people think that the tile is going to fall off, and that actually is not the case. The thin set will hold the tile to the ceiling pretty well. Secret is you got to make sure you get good coverage on the tile, and that you mix it just a little bit stiffer than you normally would. You don't want it to be loose when you put the tile on the ceiling, and it will stay. You can either spread the cement on the ceiling with your notch trowel, like I'm doing here, but oftentimes I'll just back butter the tile because it's just easier, because a lot of times the thin set will just, as you're troweling it, the little bits of it fall down. It'll fall on your face. So you really don't want to stand under it. But this section here, I just spread the thin set on the ceiling, and then the rest of it I actually back butter the tiles. Even though there were 6x6 tiles, sometimes it's just easier. So whatever works for you, go for it. So that's how I'm doing this one right now. You want to make sure that your ledger boards are perfectly straight and perfectly square and perfectly parallel to the walls, the opposite walls. And any screws that are holding the ledger board up will be covered by the bull nose afterwards, because I'm just putting up the field tile for the ceiling, and then the bull nose will go up afterwards. If you were to put the bull nose on at the same time, then the screws for the ledger boards wouldn't be covered, and that's why I do that. So anyway, these are 6x6 tiles that I'm putting up here, porcelain, so they're quite heavy, and you just want to make sure that you, when you're putting these tiles up, that you really press them well into the thin set. You want to get good coverage, and you want to make sure that the ceiling is flat. And if you have all those things, a flat ceiling, good coverage, and you don't want to have a lot of buildup of thin set either, because too much thin set will make it harder for the tile to stay up. So good coverage, the appropriate size amount of thin set, and you shouldn't have any problems. And like I said, these are porcelain tiles. They're actually quite heavy, and staying up without a problem. Just make sure you mix the thin set just a little bit stiffer than you normally would. And so this is just how I go about putting up the tile with the just put them in place.
Cut those end pieces in, and then do the rest of the ceiling.
Because I had to cut around the two lights, the fixtures, and there's a pipe in the ceiling too for the rain shower, I just back butted the rest of them and installed them one at a time. So I actually back butted a few of them all at once, probably like 6 or 7 of them. So instead of back buttering one, putting it up, and putting the trowel down, etc., I just, back butted a bunch of them so I could just pick them up and put them right up. And in a little bit, I'll show you how I cut the hole for the light fixture in those tiles. And so anyway, that's basically it. Just thin set on the tile or on the ceiling, and put them up. And if you've mixed the thin set right, and you've got enough thin set, good coverage, and you've got a flat ceiling, you should have no problems with the tile staying up.
So I'm going to finish that up. I cut that. And that's how you cut a circle in the tile. Okay, so that's the ceiling. Okay, time to put the belows on. I got that up there. I'm gonna put these on here. put that last piece in. Okay, so that's the ceiling completely done. Now the top part and the bottom part is what I need to do next, obviously. Okay, so I got the seat. I'm going to set the seat and set all the sills. So I'm going to set the seat down. So that's it. Level like that, down like that, into the tub. So that's set. That one's set. That's set. Now it's going to do this one. Okay, so all the sills are set. Okay, so I got this leveling system here. It's the MLT leveling system. And it consists of these straps, these bottom plates, and these top plates, or caps, these caps here. And then you also need the gun to make this work. Now this system has no waste at all. Everything is reusable except for the bottom plate. Now there are 4 different kinds of plates. This is the porcelain plate, which is the kind of like a universal plate, and then there's 3 other different plates. One for a running bond type joint, an offset joint, and one for stone tiles like marble and granite, and then there's one for thin tiles. This is the most versatile of the plates, and this is one I'm going to be using. And nothing is wasted in this system. These are reusable. And you just stick that on like that. Just get them ready. Make sure they click into place so they don't come loose. See this little things there? They slide into there, and then you click them into place. And then this, obviously the tile goes on top of here, this goes between the tile, and then with the gun you pull it through. So this is a system I'm going to be using. MLT leveling system. Okay, so just a note about the system or any leveling system, it's not meant to cure wavy or uneven floors. You still have to do all the prep work that you would normally do. This system is, like any leveling system, is to reduce or eliminate lippage between the tiles, and it facilitates installation of the tile. And if you've got a wavy floor, or if you've got an uneven floor, you still have to do whatever leveling you have to do. If you just meant to, to the last little bit of lippage, and it's really useful for large format tiles. I'm going to be using it on a 12 by 12 here today, but stuff from tile leveling systems really shine on large format tiles. Okay, so I got my base on, and I'm going to start going up the wall.
Some thinnest bread, and I got my bottom edge there cleaned up, and now I'm going to start putting in my plates, or my straps with the bottom plates. And you put one at each corner on each side of the tile, so they all work together to bring the tile into plane as you tighten them down. And so this what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to get row tile on, and then I'm going to start tightening them down. I'm using 1/8" spaces with this as well, so I'm using it in conjunction with spaces. When you start using a leveling system, you still have to do all the prep work that you would normally do, I back mount my tile like I normally would back mount my tile. This is not a cure-all for bad walls or bad floors, like I was saying before. So you still have to do what you have to do. And so I put that tile up. Now I'm putting the plates on the side, one in each corner on each side of the tile, as I said. And the beauty of this system is that there is no waste at all. The straps are reusable because it comes, it leaves the bottom plate under the tile, and it always breaks at the bottom of the tile because of the stainless steel part on the strap. So you'll never get a strap that breaks, in the grout joint, and then you have to cut it out with a utility knife or whatever. So this system has been really designed to minimize waste and reuse everything of the system, so that you're not throwing away material, and just everything can be reused. You might have to clean them up a little bit, but they can be reused, and they are reused. Now I got some tile on the wall, and I got some straps in place, and I'm going to put the caps on. And I'm just going to slide them on and push them down on, so they're in face with the tile. And once I get these on, and then I can start tightening, using the gun to tighten them down and bring everything into plane. Tighten them up. And that's going to give you a flat wall. Look at that. So now I'm going to move on to here, cut those, and then we'll do the rest.
Okay, so that's done. I don't have to cut that up there, all those tiles. So I'll do this piece and a half here, and then I'll move on to the other walls. Okay, so one thing about this system here is if you have remove this cap, you can't. You just put under pressure. And you don't lose anything. You don't lose the strap, so you can remove them if you have to. Then you put it back, and you're all set. Okay, so to take it off, you set that to S. Everything came off clean. No breaking below the joint. Okay, so everything's removed.
Because the border is going to be a glass mosaic tile, it's actually a paper-faced glass mosaic tile. It is much thinner than the field tile. So to get the glass tile to be, the border to be on the same plane as the field tile, I have to build it out. So what I'm doing here is I just cut strips of Detra. You can use any material that will bring you out to the correct thickness so that the tile is flush. Detra just in this case happens to be exactly what I need, so that's what I'm using. And I'm putting it on backwards. You can put it on the right way around if you want, but the best way to handle it is to install the Detra, let it fill everything, the waffles and everything, and then just let it set. This is the thickness of this tile here. I have this piece of tile cut so that when I that's cut so that's exactly the width of the glass tile. So that way I can actually pull this tile along the ditra and push it in and just make sure everything is exactly at the depths it needs to be, so that when I put the glass tile on, it'll be flush. Or sometimes you can make it just slightly proud of the field tile. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just making sure everything is at the correct depth for the glass tile. Now I am going to install this little corner shelf, and the way I'm going to do that is the tiles are notched out so that when I put the shelf in, they're going to be flush with the top of those tiles. So I'm just going to put a little thin set where the shelf meets the wall, and just put it into place. And then I am going to just put a little wedge in in the corner, just so that when so that'll be tilted in towards the shower, so any water that gets on there will roll off and into the shower and not back towards the corner. So all water runs off. Okay, so this border that's going on here is paper faced glass tile, which you can see right through. I don't know if you can see this, but you can see right through that. And you have to use the high polymer content set. This is what I'm using. Flex. This is how you do it. Because this glass tile is transparent, you need to get 100% coverage behind the tile, so you don't see any discoloration or shading behind the tile, and the color of the glass tile will be uniform. So first thing you do is you have to get the tile on the wall. Now here I'm using a V-notch trowel, on a degree notch. And you don't want to use too large a trowel that it's going to squeeze through the grout joints, but you don't want to use a trowel so small that there's not going to be enough thin set behind the tile. So the first thing you do is spread the thin set in the area with the lines all going in one direction. Once you've got that done, the next step is to knock down all the ridges or lines of the teeth mark. And you're not taking any thin set off the wall. You're just flattening the thin set and leaving an even coat on the wall. So that's the next step. Once you've done that, the next step is to place the tile into the thin set, and it's probably going to slide. Most of the times it does. Sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it does. So I'm just going to get all these sheets on, and then I'm going to beat them in with a beater block. Once you have all the tile in, this is just a little piece of 2x4 that I have, and I am beating the tile in. I'm not really whacking the 2x4, I'm just tapping it, and what this does is it smooths all the tiles underneath out. It flattens the tiles at the seams, and embeds the tile into the thin set so that you get 100% coverage. If you just try and do it with so here I'm checking to make sure that I got coverage, and I see that I do, so I'll put it back into place. And a lot of times these tiles won't stay in place because they'll start sliding down. So what I do is I poke some little brads through the paper, and like I just did there, and just tap them in into the wall a little bit. So basically what you're doing is you're hanging the sheets of mosaic tile. Once those brads are in, they're not going to slide down. And then just, after when the tile has set a little bit, you can pull it out. While that glass tile is setting up, you have to let it set for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. It varies. We're going to go back and wet the paper on the face of the glass tile, and but in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to set up, I'm going to install some tile around these jambs here. And so I'm just back battering these because they're small pieces. And then what I do is, to hold everything in place, I get a piece of, once I get it in place obviously, I get a piece of tape. Painted tape will work, or I use some aluminum tape because it sticks a little better and it's a little stronger, and wrap it around, and what that does is it holds everything in place so that it doesn't move.
And I'll get this side here. That side's done. I just gotta do the inside of the cubby.
So back to the paper face glass tile. So what I'm doing here is I am wetting the paper and pulling out the nails from the just pulling out the brads because we don't need them anymore. And I'm going to wet the paper and let it soak through so it'll soften the glue that's holding it on, and then I am going to peel the paper off. So once the glue is softened, then you can start peeling the paper off. And you want to be very gentle and try and always pull on an angle. Sometimes it's hard because it's just a narrow strip, but you want to try and pull the paper off on an angle. I finished the wall tile, and now I'm going to install the shower floor. I see on the web discussions sometimes about whether the wall tile should be on top of the shower floor, or if it really makes a difference. And in my opinion, it makes no difference whatsoever whether the wall tile is cut on top of the shower floor tile, or whether the shower floor tile is butted to the wall tile. There's so much water in a shower that it makes no difference whatsoever. So, like I said, it makes no difference whatsoever whether the wall tile is cut on top of the floor tile, or whether the shower floor tile is butted to the wall tile. There's just so much water in a shower, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, the way I approach this is I always, well, depending on the size of the shower, but 99% of the time, I will always just dry lay the whole shower floor in, cut everything in. Once everything is cut in, then I'll pick up a few rows at a time and cement them down. And this works well for me. And it's this way you're not trying to fit and cut tile while you're trying to cement it down as well. You can do it any way you want, but this is the way I do it.
I dry laid the whole thing, and now I'm going to cut around the drain. So I'm just going to eyeball it. Cut those, see how they fit. It's a sharp edge here, so I'm going to install it. so that's the train. I'm going to cut everything in. I mean, no, I'm going to cement everything in. Okay, so I picked some tiles up. Now I'm going to cement them down. Another the other half. And that's that. Now for the floor.
Okay, so the tile is all installed, the floor, the walls, the shower, everything. Time to grout. The grout lines in this job are 1/8 of an inch, and 1/8 of an inch is the transition size where you go between sanded and unsanded. On an 1/8 of an inch grout line, you can use either unsanded grout or you can use sanded grout. I tend to use the sanded grout on this size joint because it fills the joint a little bit better. But sometimes you can't. You're going to have to use a unsanded grout because of the kind of tile. It might be a marble, polished marble, it might be a glass tile. So in that case, you would always want to use an unsanded grout. Another problem with using sanded grout, though, on vertical and surfaces on a ceiling is that the sanded grout does not adhere to the wall very well. You put it on the wall, it tends to fall off. Whereas an unsanded grout, which is much more pasty, will actually stick to the wall and make it easier to move it around and fill the joints. So what I do is, when I'm faced with this kind of problem, is I will normally mix unsanded and sanded grout together to a ratio between about 1/3 unsanded and 2/3 sanded, or even half and half. And what this does is it gives you the ability to fill the grout lines better because it has sand in the grout, but at the same time it stays pasty and it'll stick to the surface and make it easy to work. So that's the tack I take. Is I when I'm faced with a wall tile where I have to use sanded grout or a ceiling, I will mix the two together. Now, just got to make sure that you can do that with the grout that you're using. I am using here, it's a Tech product, and it's just a regular grout, and I'm mixing it with Boost additive to give it very good stain resistance. And another thing about these grouts that are very stain resistant, you have to read the directions, because many times they'll say not to wash or do regular cleaning on the tile until the grout has cured, which could be up to 10 days. Boost on a Boost container, it says not to wash the surface for 10 days so that it can completely cure, and then once it's cured, then it becomes very stain resistant. So that's just an important thing that you have to take into consideration when you're putting additives in the grout. The way I grout is that I keep the float, when I'm trying to fill the joints, I keep the float at a low angle, and pushing the grout into the grout joints. And then you want to also go in several directions over the same grout joint, so that way it fills the grout joint really well, and you won't get any pinholes or any air bubbles. Sometimes you will, but you minimize that. And once you've spread some grout out in an area at a low angle, then you're gonna clear off the excess grout by putting the float on a high angle and going over the grout lines on an angle. You don't want to go parallel to the grout lines, because the edge of the float will drop into the grout line, taking the grout out. So to fill the joint, float on a low angle. To clear the excess, float on a high angle. once you have an area grouted, in this case I did the whole ceiling, it's time to wash off and any residual excess grout on the face of the tile, and just smooth out the grout lines. Now when you're washing the grout off your tile, you always want to rinse your sponge often. You want to use as little water as possible on the sponge. In other words, you're gonna rinse your sponge in the bucket of water. You're gonna wring it out as much as possible, so the sponge is as dry as it possibly can be, that a wet sponge can be. And then you're gonna wash the tile, going over in a circular motion, and then I usually will also just give like a swipe along the grout lines without any pressure, just gently. And once I have the surface clean, I will rinse the sponge, swipe with one face of the sponge in one direction, continuous motion, not going back and forth, and then flip the sponge over and do the same thing. What that does is, because you're only going in one direction with a clean sponge, you're taking off a lot of the residue that is left behind. If you go back and forth with this last part of the process, you're going to be taking the grout off, going in one direction, and then as soon as you reverse direction, you're going to put it back on. So just to keep that in mind.
All done. Floor is grouted. Shower still all grouted and caulked.